Good afternoon. In today's class, we will see Euler and Hamilton paths. So, what do you mean by a path? In the earlier class, we have seen that whenever we traverse along the edge of a graph, then it is known as a path. And then after that, we have even seen what is a circuit. A path also has a length, so you have to count the number of edges in the path to get the length. Apart from that, now the question is, can we travel along the edges of a graph starting at a vertex and returning to it by traveling each edge of the graph exactly once? So suppose if I have been given this graph. Now in this graph, the question I'm asking is, from the let's name the vertices A, B, C, D. Now in this graph, if I want to start at A, then travel each edge and return back to A. Is it possible? So take a notebook and try to solve it by yourself. But this traveling along each edge exactly once or a vertex exactly once is specified by these terms, Euler and Hamilton paths. So we'll see what each of them means. Before that, there is a problem which was developed by, there was actually a puzzle which was developed in a town of Russia, which was solved by Leonhard Euler, on which this Euler path is named. Now, similarly, can we travel along the edges of a graph starting at a vertex and returning to it while visiting each vertex exactly once? So basically, there are two types of paths that we'll be studying here. One is each edge traversing. Instead of traveling, we use the word traversing. Traversing each edge exactly once and traversing each vertex exactly once. So these are two different kinds of paths which we will study. But for now, these questions are similar actually. What you may ask, what is the difference between traversing each edge exactly once and traversing each vertex exactly once? So when a graph has an Euler circuit and when a graph has a Hamilton circuit or path, so the difference between path and circuit, as I have said in the earlier lecture, is that in a circuit, if we are starting from a vertex, then we have to traverse all the vertices and then we have to reach back to the same vertex. Okay, so now before seeing the detailed definitions of both of these terms, we will see the puzzle that I was talking about. So this is the bridges of Königsberg problem. So the question is, can we walk through town crossing each bridge exactly once and return to start? So basically, in the earlier Russia, there was a town known as Königsberg in Prussia, and it was divided into 4 sections by the branches of a river. These 4 sections included the 2 regions on the banks. So these are the banks, and one island. This was the island, that is, it was surrounded by the river. The land was surrounded by the river and the region between the 2 branches. So these are the 2 regions on the banks. This is the island and this is the region between the 2 branches. Now, the people living in the town took long walks through town on Sundays, and they wondered whether it was possible to start at some location in the town, travel across all the bridges once without crossing any bridge twice, and return back to the starting point. Suppose if you are starting from this bridge or from this point, then the people of that town wondered whether they can travel through all the towns, and that is travel through each one of this bridge only once and come back again to the starting point from where they have started. So this was the problem. That is, they had 7 bridges. So if they are starting at this bridge, then they had to travel through all the 7 bridges and return back to the first bridge from where they have started. So this problem was later solved by a mathematician known as Leonhard Euler. So Euler has solved many theorems and has given many theorems and solved many problems. So the same mathematician solved this problem also. His solution was given in the year 1736, and this was the first basis of graph theory. So he is also one of the creators of the subject for graph theory. He has contributed a lot to graph theory. So what he did is he studied the problem and then created a multi-graph. So if you notice, from A is joined to 4 bridges. So he created, one second. So yeah, A is joined to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 bridges. So instead of the 5 bridges, he created 5 edges. So A is joined to 5 edges. Similarly, what about B? B is joined to 1, 2 and 3. So this entire B town is joined to 3 bridges. So what he did is he created 3 edges. Similarly for C and D. After that, what he did is he solved the problem in the way that we can start from, suppose if I am starting from vertex A, then I am going to first to on this bridge, then I am traversing to this one, then third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. In some way he created a multigraph with 4 regions. Okay, so this was region 1, 2, 3 and 4, and this multigraph he obtained. So the problem of traveling across every bridge without crossing any bridge more than once can be rewritten or redrawn in this way, and the question is there a simple circuit in this multigraph that contains every edge? What do you mean by simple circuit? A simple circuit is basically when you are starting from one point and reaching back at the same point without crossing, without going through the same edge twice. Okay, so in this case, the mathematician Euler tried to solve the problem and he obtained a multigraph for the same. Now this can be taken as an exercise and you can try to solve it by yourself, how we can traverse through this graph from a point and reach back to that point by traveling each edge exactly once. Now we will study the Euler circuit and Hamilton circuit and paths definition. So first, an Euler circuit in a graph G is a simple circuit containing every edge of G. So basically, when we are talking about a Euler circuit, it means we have to traverse through a graph in such a way that if we are starting from a point A, then we have to come back to the point A again, and when we come back to the point, each edge should be traversed only once. That is, each edge should be traversed exactly one time. Similarly, a Euler path in G is a simple path containing every edge of G. Now, when we are talking about a path, the difference is that in a circuit, we have to return back to the same place where we have started. But in a path, we have to cover all the edges. The path should contain all the edges. So, the difference between circuit and path you already know. In Euler path, you have a simple path should contain all the edges. In a Euler circuit, each edge should be traversed and also it should come back to the starting vertex. Now, after Euler, Hamilton also we will see right now because they are almost the same with one difference. So if we see it together, it won't be confusing. A Hamilton circuit is a circuit that traverses each vertex in G exactly once. So a Hamilton circuit is basically where we are traversing each vertex exactly once. That is, if we start from a vertex, we should cover all the vertices and come back to our initial vertex. And a Hamilton path is a path that traverses each vertex in G exactly once. So in the case of path, we may start at an initial vertex. After that, we don't need to reach back to the initial vertex, but we should cover all the other vertices. So that is a Hamilton path. Now after that, so to understand both of these the four definitions, and these definitions are very important along with the examples which we will be seeing. So Euler circuit, Euler path are for the edges. So E is for traversing each edge exactly once, while Hamilton path is for traversing each vertex exactly once. Now, before going forward, we will see an example. Which of the undirected graphs in figure have an Euler circuit of those that do not have, which have an Euler path? So here, let's see the example. So over here, the first graph, G1 is so the first graph is G1, and it is given as follows: A, B, then we have the vertex E, D, and C. Now to this graph, the edges are given as follows: A to P, B to E, and A to E, then E to D, E to C, and D to C. Now after that, we have to consider a Euler circuit first and also a Euler path. We have to check whether G1 has a Euler circuit and a path. So first let's check for Euler circuit. What is the definition for Euler circuit? The definition for Euler circuit is that I'm talking about Euler circuit. So since it is a circuit, starting and ending vertex should be the same and all edges should be traversed or traveled. So in the case of graph theory, we generally use the term traversal. So from A, I can go to the edge, I can traverse this edge AE first. So I'm just writing the numbers over here. After AE, I can go to EC second. Then from EC, CD. Then CD to DE. So this is third and this is fourth. From DE, I can go to EB, fifth, and then sixth. Okay. So the graph G1 has an Euler circuit. Also, you can start from any other vertex. Also, you can start from B, E, wherever you like. And if you get an Euler circuit, even if there is one circuit present, then it will be a Euler circuit. The graph contains Euler circuit. So let me write the circuit. So first I started from A, then E, then I went to C, D, then later D to E again, E to B, and then finally A. So the initial vertex and the terminal vertex are both the same. So that means our graph has an Euler circuit. Now what about the Euler path? So for the Euler path, it means that it should traverse all the edges, okay, and we don't need to traverse through the, we don't need the initial and the terminal. So if you notice in this graph, if I have created a path A to E, that is I have to, for Euler path, I'm speaking about Euler path. So in the case of Euler path, all edges should be traversed. We don't need to have the initial and the terminal vertices to be the same. So, but all edges should be traversed. So if we traverse from A again to E or A to B, whichever you choose. So instead of A, we can even take AB. After AB, if I travel from AB to E, then E to D, D to C, then CE, and then again A. So it is again creating a Euler circuit. But what about a Euler path? We don't need the initial and the terminal vertices to be the same. So you can see that the graph G1 has Euler circuit, but you can find out for Euler path if you are traversing the edges in such a way that the initial vertex and the terminal vertex are not the same, then you have a Euler path. Try to find out a Euler path in the graph G1. Now after that, let's see the graph G2. So the graph G2 is as follows. So let me draw it over here. So in the graph G2, let's try to find the Euler circuit. So if I start from the vertex A, I should travel. So I'm speaking about Euler circuit. If I start from vertex A, I should be able to travel all the edges and come back again to the vertex A. Let's see. AD. So I'm traveling this vertex first. AD. Then I can go to C. So DC. Then CE or CB. So I'm taking CE. So this is the third one. Then I have to go to EB. This is fourth. Then BA. So this is fifth. Now what about this vertex, this one and this one? Sorry, these three edges, not vertices, edges. So these three edges I am unable to traverse. Take another point in this graph and try to traverse from there and cover all the edges and reach back to that vertex. So even in that case, you will notice that. So please try to create a circuit by yourself for both the graphs. So this is G2, this is the graph G2, and also if we see the graph G3, this graph, both of these graphs don't have a Euler circuit. Okay. So Euler circuit means basically, the reason I'm repeating the definition again and again is because it is very important, and while you are attempting it in the examination, you may get confused. So in the case of a Euler circuit, we have the initial and the terminal vertices should be the same of the circuit, and all circuit means obviously the initial and the terminal vertices should be the same, and all the edges must be traversed exactly once. So in G2 and G3, you won't get a Euler circuit. Now what about the Euler path? G2 does not have a Euler path also. That is, we cannot traverse through all the edges exactly once. Some of the edges might be left. But G3 does have a Euler path. Let's see the path for G3. So G3 is defined as, is given as follows. So in this graph, if I'm talking about the Euler path, it means we just have to travel to all the edges once. So the Euler path can be given as follows. If I'm traveling from A to C, so first I am traveling from A to C, then after that C to D is the second, C to D, then D, E, third, after that E to B, fourth, then B to D is fifth, then D to A, and then finally D to A is sixth, and then finally we have A to B. This is seventh. So we have in total 7 edges, and all of them are being traversed. And if it had been a Euler circuit, our initial, that is, and the terminal vertex A and B would have been the same. But since they are different and we are traversing all the edges, it is a Euler path. Now this is all of these Euler paths and circuits that I have tried to find out are for undirected graph. Now what happens if it is a directed graph? So the next example is for the case of directed graph. Which of the directed graphs, I'm sorry, this is directed graph. Which of the directed graphs in the figure have an Euler circuit? Of those that do not have, which have an Euler path. Okay. So whenever we have a Euler circuit, then in that case, we may not have a Euler path. So here, let's see first. So there are 3 graphs again, H1, H2 and H3. So let's see first for H1. So the first graph has H1 is as follows. It has 4 vertices A, B, C, D. and the directions are given in the following way. So from A to D we have an edge, and then from C to B, D to C, and finally A to D. Okay. Now in this graph we need to find a Euler path or a Euler circuit. So let's see. Let's try to find either Euler path, or first we are trying to find Euler path, then we are trying to find Euler circuit. But the scenario for this is that we have to travel along the direction of the edges. So if I am traversing from A to B, from B there is no edge that goes from B, so the path is stopped over there. We cannot go any further. But what about from A to D? I can go from A to D, D to C, and C to B. Okay, so I have A to D, D to C, C to B, but this AB edge is left. If you try to start your Euler path or Euler circuit from any vertex, you won't be able to go through a path or a circuit which traverses all the edges. So in the case of this H1, this was our H1 graph. So H1 graph does not have a Euler path, neither it has a Euler circuit. So no Euler path, no Euler circuit. Now the next case, the next example is H2. So H2, I will try to explain it here. It will be difficult to draw it over there. So for the case of H2, let's see for Euler circuit. In the case of Euler circuit, if I am starting from A, I can go from A to G. So let me write it over here. I am going from A to G. So this is the first vertex I am traversing. This is the first vertex. After that, A to G. Then what about from G, where should I go? I can go either to E or to C. So I am selecting the vertex C. So I am going second over here. So A to G, then G to C. Now please name it accordingly by using the notebook and a pen. I'll just traverse through the part directly without naming the edges. So A to G, G to C. Then I am going from C to B. Then G again, B to G, since I have not traversed this edge. So B to G. Then G to E. Then D, F, and A. So G to E, then E to D, D to F, and F to A. So this, we are starting at the initial vertex. We are starting at the vertex A initially and ending at the vertex A. So this is a Euler circuit. Now what about a Euler path? This H2 won't have a Euler path. Now we will directly go for H3. So for H3, it does not have a Euler circuit. Please verify it by yourself. But for Euler path, Euler circuit is not. The Euler path of H3 is given as C, A, B, C, D, B. Okay. Please verify it for yourself. I am starting from C, going to A, then B, then C, D, and B. That is, it is covering all the edges, the 5 edges of this graph. It does not have a Euler circuit, but H3 does have a Euler path. Now after that, we have 2 theorems with respect to Euler path. So first is, a connected multigraph has an Euler circuit if and only if each vertex has even degree. So whenever we are talking about a multigraph, that is a graph which has multiple edges between 2 vertices or between 2 distinct vertices, then in that case, each vertex, if it has an even degree, then it will have a Euler circuit. Another theorem is, a connected multigraph has an Euler path but not an Euler circuit if it has exactly 2 vertices of or. A connected multigraph has an Euler path if and only if it has exactly 2 vertices. So in the entire graph, it should have exactly 2 vertices of odd degree. The rest should be even degree. Then it will have a Euler path but not a Euler circuit. Now apart from that, we also have theorems for constructing Euler circuits, which you can look up by for yourself. In this topic, actually, the definitions and the examples are important rather than the theorems. Now, which graphs shown in the figure have Euler path? So for this, actually, we will see with the help of the theorem statements we have studied earlier. So the theorem statement for Euler path was, if the graph has exactly two vertices of odd degree, then it will have a Euler path. So with respect to that, we will try to see whether what are the degrees of the vertices in this. So G1, the graph G1, it has two vertices B and D with degree 3 and two vertices A and C with degree 2. So what was the statement? Exactly two vertices of odd degree. If it has exactly two vertices of odd degree, then it will consist of a Euler path. So over here we have exactly two vertices A and C of odd degree, so it will have a Euler path. Sorry, not A and C. A and C has vertices 2, has degree 2. B and D has degree 3. So the degree of vertex B and vertex D is 3. So it has exactly two vertices of degree odd degree. Now in this case, let's see about G2. So in the case of G2, what are the two vertices? Do we have two vertices of odd degree? So in the case of G2, we have B, vertex B, if you check 1, 2, 3, and similarly vertex D, 1, 2, 3. So B and D again have degree 3. But what about the other vertices? A has the degree 2, G has the degree 4, similarly C will have degree 4, and E has degree 2, and F has the degree 4. So all the other vertices have degree even, while B and D have the odd degree. So since we have exactly two vertices of odd degree, it will have a Euler path. Now what about G3? In the case of G3, A, what is the degree of A? A's degree is 1, 2 and 3. So A has 3, B has 3. So this is basically a hexagon, and all the points of the hexagon have degree 3, and while G has the degree 6. So there are six vertices of odd degree, and we need exactly two. So if we have six vertices of odd degree, then this does not have a Euler path. Now let's see the Euler path of the graph G1. In the case of G1, if I start from D, or if I start from A, let's start from D, D to A, I am traversing in this way, D to A to B, B to C, C to D, and again D to B, actually this way. This entire four edges and the final edge in this way. So this is the Euler path. Here I have written it. And similarly for G2, if I start from B, BA, AG, then GF, FE, ED, DC, then CG, GB, then BC, CS, and FD. So if I am traversing in this way, I am able to travel through all the edges exactly once, even though the initial vertex and the terminal vertex are not the same. So G1 and G2 has a Euler path, but G3 won't have any Euler path. So no Euler path is for G3. Now what about Hamilton paths and circuits? So Hamilton path and circuit, we have seen the definition already. A simple path in a graph G that passes through every vertex exactly once is called a Hamilton path, while a simple circuit in a graph G that passes through every vertex exactly once is called a Hamilton circuit. So in the case of Euler, it was edges. In the case of Hamilton, it is vertices. That is, the simple path x0, x1, xn minus 1 and xn in the graph G is equal to V, E is a Hamilton path if V is equal to, that is, all the vertices are traversed exactly once. And if we are starting from x naught and again ending at x naught, then it will be a Hamilton circuit. So it is a Hamilton circuit if your xn is it. So if we have a Hamilton path, then obviously we will have a Hamilton circuit also. So let's see that. Which of the simple graphs is in a figure have Hamilton circuit or if not a Hamilton path? So let's start with G1. We have, let's check for G1. So if I'm starting from vertex A, I can go to vertex B, A. So A to B, then B to C, C to D, D to E, and E to A. So basically I'm starting at A and ending at A. So this has a Hamilton circuit. Now what about a Hamilton path? A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E. So if I am going from A, B, C, D, E, then it will also have a Hamilton path. Now what about this graph G2? In the case of G2, I can go from A to B, B to C, then C to D, and D to B again. I am not reaching A. So there is no Hamilton circuit, no Hamilton circuit. This has a Hamilton circuit and a Hamilton path. Now what about G2? It will have a Hamilton path because I can go from A to B, B to C, and then C to D. I can stop at D. It means it is covering all the vertices. So G2 does have a Hamilton path. So it has a Hamilton path, but it does not have a Hamilton circuit. But now what about G3? G3, in the case of G3, it does not have a Hamilton circuit or a path because any path containing all vertices must have an edge between. So from AB, I can go to BG, GE, EF, but again I have to traverse back to E again. So the condition that exactly each vertex should be traveled exactly once is being nullified. So over here, it is not possible to have either a Hamilton path or a Hamilton circuit in the case of the graph G3. After that, we have the complete graph Kn. So the statement is show that Kn has a Hamilton circuit whenever n is greater than or equal to 3. What do you mean by Kn? Kn is basically complete graph. So now you see that these terms, complete graph, bipartite graph, cycle graph, wheel graphs are very important. Even the symbol, the notation of those graphs are important. So K denotes complete graph, very, very important to be remembered, while n is the number of vertices. So n is the number of vertices over here, and in the statement it is being said that if n is greater than or equal to 3, then it should always have a Hamilton circuit. Let's check for n is equal to 3. When n is equal to 3, it means it is a triangle. So in the case of a triangle, if I am naming the vertices A, B, and C, so I can go from A to B, B to C, so and then again C to A. So it is having a Hamilton circuit. When n is equal to 4, I have this graph A, B, C, D. I can traverse from A to B, B to D, D to C, and then again from C to A. So I can write it this way: A, B, C, D, A. It does have a Hamilton circuit. Similarly, you can proceed and check for n is equal to 5, 6, and all the rest of them. So we can form a Hamilton circuit in Kn beginning at any vertex. Such a circuit can be built by visiting vertices in any order we choose, as long as the path begins and ends at the same vertex and visits each vertex exactly once. This is possible because there are edges in Kn between any two vertices. Basically, the definition of Kn is in between the pair of every two distinct vertices, we will have an edge. So in that case, we can traverse through the entire graph by visiting each vertex exactly once. Now, based on this, we have two theorems. One is the Dirac's theorem and Orr's theorem. So first and foremost, for the Dirac's theorem, if G is a simple graph with n vertices with n greater than or equal to 3, such that the degree of every vertex in G is at least n by 2, then G has a Hamilton circuit. Now what does this mean? If we are talking about a simple graph, that means it does not have loops or multiple edges, and if the vertices are greater than or equal to 3, such that the degree of vertex in G is at least n by 2. Now what does this mean when the degree is n by 2? So if we have 3 vertices, then the degree should be at least half of that, that is 1, it can be 2. Then in that case, n by 2 we can take the, suppose I am taking the field value. Okay, so 1 by 2 means I'll have to take 2. So if the degree is 2, half of the number of vertices in the graph, then it will have a Hamilton circuit. Now you can verify this by taking the complete graph example. So in this case, we had the triangle one, the total number of vertices is 3. If I half it, then it will be 3 by 2, which is 1 by 2. Sorry, it is 1 by 1.5. So 1.5 means 2. If I am taking the field value, it means 2. And if you verify, the degree of each vertex is actually 2. So it has a Hamilton circuit. Now what about Ode's theorem? If G is a simple graph with n vertices and n is greater than or equal to 3, such that degree of U plus degree of V. So for every pair of non-adjacent vertices U and V in G, both the degrees should be equal to or greater than the number of vertices, then that graph has a Hamilton circuit also. So these are the two theorem statements which might be important if you just want to directly verify a Hamilton circuit. But in the case of the theorem proofs, those are not important and have not been given actually. So you just have to remember the statement if you want to verify whether you have done or found out your Hamilton circuit correctly or not. So this concludes the topic Euler and Hamilton paths.